Welcome to this Heritage Open Day podcast from Norwich Cathedral. Cathedral guide Philip Tuckwood introduces one of the great gems of the cathedral, the Despenser Reredos. We hope this podcast will encourage you to visit Norwich Cathedral and see the Reredos for yourself. Details of our opening times are on our website.
Of all the works of art and artefacts to be seen in Norwich Cathedral, surely the rarest and most significant must be the stunning and spectacular altarpiece known as the Despenser Reredos in St Luke's Chapel at the southeast corner of the cathedral. It is the last surviving English medieval altarpiece showing scenes from the Crucifixion and dates from 1382. It is therefore not only of national importance, but also of great significance in the whole of Northern Europe. There can be few artefacts surrounded in such mystery and intrigue, which certainly add to its appeal. The origin of the work lies in the conflict and unrest of the Peasants' Revolt, which spread across England in 1380. The Despensers were an influential, powerful and often infamous family in England in medieval times. It was decided very early in his life that Henry Despenser would follow a career in the church, and after becoming a canon of Salisbury at the very early age of 11, he became Bishop of Norwich in 1370 at the age of 29. Being, like most of his family, first and foremost of a military persuasion, he became known as the Fighting Bishop, and when Norwich was occupied by rebels in 1381, he led an army against them at the Battle of North Walsham after pursuing them from the city. It ended in a rout and a massacre of the rebels, whose local leader, Joseph Lister, was captured. After a trial, Despenser heard his confession and gave him absolution, before personally supervising his hanging, drawing and quartering. The grisly body parts were put on display in Norwich as an example to others. The altarpiece was commissioned as a celebration of the victory, either by Despenser himself, by his supporters in the battle, or other donors. In any event, Despenser would have been very much involved with the work, which would have done nothing to deflate his very considerable ego. Henry died in 1406 and is buried before the high altar. It is not known for certain who painted the altarpiece, or indeed from which country the work originates. The fact that it is unsigned and that there is a predominance of red colour suggests that it is English and local. Norwich was the centre of the trade in madder dye, which was used in the making of red dyes and pigments. Whereas the stick-like limbs of the characters is very much Flemish in style. It is now agreed by experts that the work is English, but with a Flemish influence, and might have been painted by Thomas de O'Kell. Given the close cultural, artistic and trade connections between Norwich and the Low Countries at the time, and the fact that almost half of the population of the city was Dutch or Flemish, this is quite likely, but nevertheless not certain. The reason for the survival of this work when others did not was that the cathedral heard rumour of the visit of Cromwell's men in 1643, intent on damage and destruction, so it was hidden away along with other treasured artefacts. It ended up having legs screwed to it and the back used as a workbench, and so it remained hidden in plain sight for over 200 years. By Victorian times it had become a meeting room table, and during a meeting in 1847 someone dropped something on the floor and went under the table to retrieve it. Happening to glance up, the work was rediscovered, no doubt to the astonishment of all. This story may seem fanciful, but it is one of the few things about the artefact of which we can be certain. The fact that it was hidden from the light of day for so long also explains why the colours remain so vibrant today. Nevertheless, the work was in a damaged state, particularly the frame and border, and in 1958 Pauline Plummer undertook restoration and reconstruction work, including reworking of the top eighth of the central panel. A conscious decision was made to leave the outer panels as they are. Since then, there has been much discussion and disagreement as to the original format. The purpose of these altarpieces was to draw attention and focus to what otherwise would be a featureless and flat altar, thus aiding concentration on higher things. Though known as a reredos, it is in fact a retable, sitting as it does on the altar itself rather than on the floor behind it. The piece is made up of 5 panels illustrating Christ's Passion from the flagellation to the Ascension, all on a gilded background. Its composition is full of religious and political symbolism. The border contains 28 small panels of painted glass as faux enamel depicting symbols of the crucifixion, coats of arms of Despenser, Norwich Cathedral, Canterbury Cathedral, local knights possibly involved in the battle, and even the mythical sacrificial pelican, which was symbolic as a Christ figure.